All right, we're ready. All right, so bring call to order here. So have the roll call. Mr. Jim?
Thank you,
Attorney.
Mr. Chair. Mrs. Carpenter?
Here.
Mr. Cron?
Here.
Mr. Gosnell?
Here.
Mr. Tieford?
Here.
Mr. Walling? We have a quorum at 6:02 PM. I would ask Mr. Chair to entertain a motion to excuse Mr. Walling.
Yes, have a motion to excuse Mr. Walling.
Motion.
All right. Second?
Second.
All right. Everybody good?
Good.
Yay or nay?
Yay. Yay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Move to the approval of the agenda. Everybody get a chance to take a look at the agenda. Does everything look
Corrections or additions?
corrections or additions? Thank you, ma'am.
I make a
Good.
motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you. And yes, we want to, sorry, my brain is not, still in work mode. All right, everybody approve. Yay? Yay.
Yay.
Thank you. Now we go to the approval of the minutes from last week. Did everybody get a chance to review the minutes?
Yes.
And do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, thank you. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. Does everybody approve? Yay?
Yes.
Yay for me, too. All right. That is today's date. All right. All right, now we're going to move to case tonight. Just a reminder to adjust the microphone, speak directly into the microphone when making public comments for us. There is an oath there on the podium there, so to swear in for us, it would be greatly appreciated. And we will have the city start with BZA case 24-009 for 4620 Springfield Street.
I, Nia Holt, affirm that the testimony I am about to give before the Board of Zoning Appeals is correct to my knowledge. Address is 5200 Springfield Street, Riverside, Ohio, 45431. This is an appeal of an administrative determination related to a interpretation of our UDO, our zoning code, as it relates to a code violation. The subject site is made up of 3 parcels in the B2 zoning district. It is outlined in blue here. Here is the aerial of that same site. Again, 3 parcels outlined in blue. The site was cited for improper storage or storage as the primary use in the B2 zoning district and in the well-filled overlay. Neither of those districts permit storage as a primary use. Storage is permitted in I-1 only, and if it's outside of the well-filled area or the water protection overlay. Here is the front of that property, just to let you know the property we're speaking of, right up the street. Give you a little, just giving different views of the building, and then the storage area. So as we're talking about the code sections that are in, relevant to this case, we've heard talk from the appellant about this possibly being a non-conforming use, what a principal use is or a primary use, and then storage as it relates to our code. Also, that storage is only permitted in I-1, and that it is a prohibited use in our well-filled or water protection overlay. You will see in your staff report information from the appellant that the building is not used as a storage facility. They find that storage facility is not defined in our code, and that there is potential that this property is grandfathered in. After reviewing information from case records that we found from the county and from our own records, we did not find that this property meets the standards for having, well, let me back up. So the primary use is as storage, does not meet B2 because, like I said before, it is not permitted in that zoning district or in the overlay. That's not permissible outside of I-1. Using the definition in our code as storage, I went back and it is in your staff report. It is defined, let me pull that up for you, as a space or place where goods, materials, or personal property is placed or kept for more than 24 consecutive hours. That is our definition of storage, and as a primary use, that is not permitted. They have not given us any information that it's not used for storage, that there is some other use, and there is communication from their attorney that that is the designated use for that area. One reason that storage is not permitted in the well-field protection area is this could be harmful to the drinking water source, because in that area where it is a water protection overlay, that is the closest area to the aquifer, and so there is a higher level of risk for any chemicals or vehicles that hold fuel. So storage is something that we have prohibited in that area. And finally, when we're looking at non-conforming uses, we do not have any documentation that there was any permits or legally conforming uses in place when it was I-1. So without that evidence, it's the current zoning district's regulations that we must uphold. So the question before you, as you're reviewing any evidence heard today, is whether there was an error in the interpretation of the code. If yes, then you would side with the appellant and overturn the code violation, and the case will be closed. And if not, then you would find that the appellant failed to meet their burden of proof and uphold staff's determination. Are there any questions?
Any questions from the board? For the city?
Are we opening to questions now, or?
Well, if you have
It's-
questions for me, yes.
it's just for the
Or if
city
you want
right
to wait
Okay.
until you hear from the applicant, appellant.
Yeah.
Okay. So, for you, Naya, the storage use is not, this zoning is not used for storage use, especially with vehicles, because of the oil or contamination substance
So-
in the water, in that water
So
area?
it's not, wouldn't be permitted in any B2.
Okay.
Yeah. And then now, but this area is, also has that overlay district of the water protection, so it's like not permitted doubly.
Okay.
So if it was I-1 and it was still in that overlay, storage would still not be permitted.
Was it I-1 before?
It was, but it was still in the overlay district.
Okay.
I'm saying there was an I-1 at one time. and
Yes.
The zoning when did the zoning get changed to B?
In 2013.
2013?
Okay.
But it's been in the overlay
But
the
it's-
whole time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the overlay doesn't change, but it was.
Right.
And then it was B. Okay.
Any-
Okay.
Yeah, we have been in the source water protection program since we were a village, is what I can find.
Okay.
Anything else for the city?
I've got a question.
Yes.
When was that fence put up, and did they have a permit to do it?
So I did find a permit for the fence,
Okay.
but not for any business other than.
Because it's a
Alien-
non-conforming fence.
The fence, yeah. I don't know if they went to BZA. I did not find that to get a solid fence,
Well,
Of that
again, we're
height?
not here for the fence.
but yeah.
So we're just here strictly based off of whether or not the city erred, so. But I agree with the fence, too, so nothing we can do.
So as far as we know, this is a non-performing building? It's not, does it have a business? Does it have a permit for a
Are you
business?
talking about
The property?
so the permit for the business I found was for Alien, and that was in 1995, for Alien Wear or something like that. It was a skateboard shop.
Okay.
1999.
Let me look back. 95 for Alien, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Anything else for the city?
Alien Workshop is what it's called.
Nothing else for the city? We can move to,
I just have a question. I don't know if this pertaining to the, because we're talking about, well, we're talking about storage, and we're really talking about water, and those two not correlating with the code.
Well, we're saying that there's the zoning district and then there's an overlay, but neither permit storage. So if we
Okay.
took the zoning district out
Yeah.
and the overlay was still in
We
place.
still have the overlay.
Correct.
Okay.
all right, anything else for the city?
Nope.
All right. This time, this is going to be, it looks like 6:15. We're going to open up the public portion of this meeting. Again, I'll just remind you to adjust the microphone, speak directly into it if you would, please. State your name, address, and swear in for us. So we do have a few names up here. I'm not for sure who would like to go first here, the owner or the attorney. The attorney, all right. Thank you, sir.
May it please the board, do you need me to swear in as an advocate, or do you still have that?
Yes, it's for the record, so that we can put it in the minutes. Yes, sir.
So I'm Matthew Sorg, I'm at 210 West Main Street, Troy, Ohio. To affirm the testimony I'm about to give in the argument, the advocacy that I prepare before the Board of Zoning Appeals is correct to the best of my knowledge.
Thank you.
To address, I think, the board here, and particularly some questions that Ms. Carpenter presented.
Can you speak into the mic?
Sure.
Yeah, you can adjust it.
The crux of this issue is whether this is a storage facility or primary use as a storage. That's really the only issue here, okay? So we do have well field overlays and things of that nature, which are kind of companions to this, but it's, as Nia said, they're not allowed in the well field or in the present zoning, the B2. So it's really just the issue whether this is storage or not, or whether it's a storage facility. We don't have any evidence at all. The city has the burden here to a great extent to show that there's some sort of substantial, reliable, probative evidence that there is in support of this violation. I can present testimony from the owner today, which says this is not a storage facility, it's not storage use. We've had the EPA out twice in the last month to do inspections. My understanding, city representative companioned them last time, and the EPA, you would hear, is saying there's no problems here. Okay? The primary use of this building is to repair equipment and machinery and then resell it. They buy it, they fix it, they turn around and sell it. That's what they do.
Oh, I'm sorry. Tell me his name.
This is Matthew
Sorg.
Sword.
Mr. Sorg?
Sorg.
Okay, Mr. Sorg. Is there a business permit for such, is there a permit for such a business in this facility?
After Alien Workshop sold this building to them, I think in '99, the precursor to this business was owned by Mr. No. He's now deceased, and Loretta inherited the building. So my understanding, it's been operating nonstop. I do not know whether it was ever established with the city going back to '95 or '99 when Alien Workshop vacated that.
Okay. And these, can you describe to me what's in the back of this facility, or what
Do you
is?
mean the back of the building or the back
I
of the
think that's,
lot?
yeah, the back of the building, because behind the fence. Can you describe what's back there?
Well, we have I think you saw a photograph of that, but I think it's been cleaned up since then. And when you had talked about the representation of the previous attorney, I didn't make the representation. You have to understand the context of that. When it was a July 26th, or July 16, 2024 email, the area behind the fence is not used for parking. It's just for storage. He didn't mean that it was storage facility. There's no renting to third parties. It is that where equipment needs to be stored until it gets brought in, and then when it gets packed up to be shipped out.
And the equipment meaning,
The-
what kind of equipment?
Machinery, presses, things of that nature. That is the nature. The primary use of this is to rehab equipment
In the back of the building?
in the entire building. That's
Okay.
what this does. This is the nature of the business.
But what we're talking about is on the outside of the building. Is that
What you were
correct?
talking about is an allegation that this is a storage facility, like a U-Haul or something with a third party, which there's not a scintilla of evidence on that, or you're talking the primary use of this is a storage. That's not this either. So we can't just pick and choose. I mean, there's inventory there are tools there. The primary use is not storage.
Well, I think what we're looking at are, if I can make it out, is that a boat and I can't,
Naya, how old is this Google aerial photo? Do you know what this came through? I know it's a little while ago, I'm sure, a year or so maybe.
2022.
So it's not a current photo that we're looking at for that. Here's something, Mr. Sorg, maybe I can suggest or ask, is however the allegation came about, and I don't remember on this, but earlier in June, it says here from junk vehicles supposedly in June the 12th. What I would like to see from this would be, is there any possible way, I'm going to give two options. One would be to have the appellant walk through with a city official to identify inside and outside that deals with storage. The second option that I would like to see is some type of photo proof. So either or. I'm not looking for both, but photo documentation to prove inside and outside about storage based on what's in the code.
Recall, though, the whole nature of the violation is primary use, okay? The carryout down the street has things stored on the shelves. Its primary use is not storage, correct? It's the
That's
retail.
correct.
Okay.
So that's what I'm asking. As a quasi judicial board, I want to try to make sure that we get all the facts in play for this, because it's not of our intent to ever just rubber stamp something yes or no. I want to make sure I have all the facts and everything in place. To do that, I feel as a board, I want some photo documentation. I don't know if everybody else agrees for this to happen, just so that
we understand
everything
what
that's going on.
exactly is outside
And inside, because storage deals with inside and outside.
and if
So-
we have the proper permit for the business, and is it holding up to its,
Well, permit doesn't matter here.
Yeah.
That's not what we're here for. We're here
Okay.
for strictly storage, so I got to make sure we stay
Well,
on task.
That's what I'm
Yes,
asking, because we
yes.
can talk about, we could go into the weeds about grandfather
We're
and
yeah, we're not,
zoning and.
I don't want to get in the weeds. I want to try to make it as simple as possible.
This is storage. That's
Right. For that to happen, if you're in agreement to it, it would push the case out 1 month.
Okay.
But to have the photo documentation, if you don't want to take the city through this week to do that, that's fine. That's the owner's prerogative. But I would request photo documentation presented, whether it's by email or a thumb drive of photos dropped off at the city within 48 hours.
I was just out there before I came here. I thought I'd go take a look, because I wanted to know, if I'm going to come to the board, what I know. So storage facility, I think we can clearly say it's not a storage facility. We can have testimony today by Loretta that she doesn't rent it out to a third party. It's not a U-Haul. We don't have storage areas. We can also, as a proffer, say the EPA has already been out there a number of times this year, and they made some corrective measures. Hey, you got to get rid of that stuff, and they did. So the EPA is they're in the good grace of the EPA. So there is a great deal of equipment and tools in there, okay? And I asked Loretta, what is all this stuff? And she said, well, those are things they're working on that they're going to fix, and those are tools. So it is all, I mean, that's what the photographs would show. So-
And I'm good with that. That way, if I would have the documentation, the city would have the documentation to identify what's there inside and outside. And then at the same time, I don't think I'm out of line with Mr. Law Director. Am I good with that?
Mr. Chair, you are authorized, as the chair, you have the discretion to ask for conditions to postpone the matter until a date certain, which would be the November meeting. I'm sorry, the October meeting. The appeal would still be pending, so of
Yeah.
course, the enforcement efforts would be paused. And then it would be incumbent upon the applicant and/or their counsel to provide the documentation, photographic evidence, and other evidentiary materials that you would request on behalf of the board.
And with the photo documentation presented to the city, if they would review the documentation, would the city also have the ability to take a look at those photos prior to us, and then they could also make a decision to remove the appeal? Or, I'm sorry, remove the
The violation.
violation, if that's the case?
Certainly. So if further evidence is provided to the city, it will be reviewed by the Community Development Department, it will be reviewed by the Legal Department. If the city's determination changes and there's no longer determined that a violation is occurring, then the city would withdraw the notice of violation as if it never happened.
Okay.
And the appeal would be canceled.
Okay.
And if not, then we would return at a date certain at next month's meeting and move forward in that fashion. But certainly, if any subsequent information that's provided to the city would be reviewed as it comes in, and determinations can be made as to whether or not that changes the ultimate findings that the city has come to.
Okay.
Do you want you want testimony from Loretta No to give the context of what you would see in those photographs? I mean, or do you want to wait for that?
I would rather wait
Okay.
for that. I mean, it's not, again, not that I don't trust the people that come. I've done this one other time where I had to postpone stuff because I want to make sure that the hearsay stuff, even the EPA stuff, I mean, I get people been in and out, but I don't think I have documentation here about EPA stuff. So I think it's fair, instead of trying to make a decision, if you can provide the documentation for the city, it will then give them a chance to review, and then it might not even have to come back here next month. And if you guys are willing to do that, I'd like to put it to where by the end of business day on Thursday, it's 48 hours, to do that, provide it to them, whether it's dropping off, whether it's by email, you have her email as well, link to a Dropbox, whatever it might be, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
all right, in this day and age of stuff. So, and then they have time to review it, prior to letting us know that the meeting is ready for, because they let us know usually 2 to 3 weeks prior to a meeting, and so I want to make sure there's ample time prior to a meeting next month.
Understood.
All right?
Yes, sir.
Anything else? I mean, I just want to try to be fair for everybody.
No, I understand, and I'll probably go back there tonight, take some photographs, and I've got a nice Samsung phone that,
Yeah,
you know,
no,
have good pictures.
Yeah,
and then load 'em up.
and if you're able to map it out so that we know where things are at, I'm sure it'd be easier or helpful for the law director and the departments for zoning and stuff, community development to, maybe it's a layout of the building, just a hand-drawn layout of the building, these were where these photographs were taken, so that we have an idea. I mean, both ways, either way is fine, if it's just photos or if you want to take the city through just to see what's going on. I don't care. I just want to be fair
Understood.
and have an educated decision for all of us.
Understood.
Okay?
We're agreeable to that.
Cool, thank you.
All right.
Anything else? Anything else
Um,
for the board, from the board?
The photos that we'd be taking are going to be inside and outside?
Inside and outside.
Okay.
Inside and outside.
Okay.
But we are, with Naya, I'm going to ask Naya, we're specifically looking at that outside. Is this what is being addressed, the outside?
So when we talk about storage, I want to go back to that definition. And so when you're talking about U-Haul, and that's one type of storage,
It's a storage facility as
Yes.
opposed to storage. There's two different ways under your ordinances to address that.
yes. So I want you to hone in on that definition when you're considering your submission. That being said, so if someone has a warehouse as a type of storage, if they're storing goods, that would also be storage.
Right.
Okay,
To
so,
address Board Carpenter, it's not what's behind the fence. It's whether this is a primary use of a storage, either facility or just a primary use of storage.
okay.
I mean, it's inside and outside.
Inside and outside.
out-
Inside
Inside and
outside.
outside.
Yep.
And in this zoning district, no storage. It's only 24-hour.
Yes, yes, storage as a use, storage facilities are not permitted as a primary use. So storage facilities are not permitted.
But again, primary use is the crux of it.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, you can have storage on-site of your tools,
Yes.
your equipment.
Sure.
As an
your
accessory
machinery,
use.
Yes.
Your
Yes.
cigarettes, your Cokes, the
Yes,
carry-out. You can
yes.
have storage. It just can't be the primary use.
Correct.
Okay,
Right, and I think
And I
with
think
the
that's-
photo documentation.
right.
And then, if this happens to come back here for next month, to have owner testimony at the same time explaining what's going on would be, I think, very helpful if it comes to this part. So, okay?
All right.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.
All right. At that, then, we will continue this.
You would, if I may.
Go ahead.
A motion to postpone
Motion to postpone.
case number, BZ number 24-0009 to a date certain. That's for notice purposes, so we don't have to republish. That's the October meeting,
Yep.
which is October 22nd, 2024.
Yes. All right, so a motion to postpone this. Now you have a,
Well, I mean, this is maybe for Jim. I know there was somebody else who wanted to speak. I know, should we let
Oh,
them,
okay.
everybody
mean-
else speak, or are we just closing?
what's your thoughts? I mean, I didn't want to,
Based on, since this is the applicant's appeal, it's
Yeah.
ultimately the applicant's burden of proof to prove their case. My legal advice to the board is if the applicant is willing to pursue the conditions and the requests of the chair and provide that documentary, photographic, and evidentiary materials to city staff for an updated perhaps recommendation or further action to the board, my advice is it would be premature to hear any other testimony until that is conducted, because again, under the code, 110307C, the applicant has the right to testify first.
that's correct.
All right.
So, so then the applicant can, if they would like to, testify tonight, or,
Well, and that's
No.
why I asked you the context of it with
Yeah.
without the photographs.
and that's what I was kind of saying. I didn't want to, it's still up to them, obviously, if they want to. That's where I was kind of thinking maybe it wouldn't do us any good, in my opinion.
Correct. And that's why I made what we call a proffer, is saying that what you're going to hear is that it's not a storage use, primary use.
Right.
It's not a storage facility. So that at least is the context of putting everyone's mind until we can
Yeah.
get you the photographs and
Sure.
come back, if we have to come back in October.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I'm good with that, so.
And just so you're aware, per our code, your proffer will be included in the minutes. It'll be on the record, so thank you.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I know, and there was,
There
one
was,
more.
there was a third, which might be a neighbor, it looks like, and a Frank Smith, and you'll just wait?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, so they will wait. All right. So then we will take a motion then to postpone BZA case 24-009 for 4620 Springfield Street to a date of October 22nd, 2024, with conditions that have already been stated. Do I need to restate those?
No, they're in the record. They'll
Thank
be in
you.
the motion.
Do you need a second?
I need a first.
I need a first. You're first. I'm first.
Thank you. So moved. There's a motion there and a second.
Lisa
Thank
was
you.
made the motion, and then,
Lisa made the
and
motion.
then Tim
there.
second, Tim C.
Tim C. Tim,
I do need to do a roll call for any motion of the BZA.
yes.
so
And a roll
there's
call, please.
A motion and a second. So Mrs. Carpenter,
Yes?
Mr. Cron,
Yes.
Mr. Gosnell.
Yes.
Mr. Teaford.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Case is
Okay.
postponed until 10/22/24. There will be no other notices sent. This will constitute the notice. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. All right, so this time, any additional staff or city discussion topics?
There are none.
Great. December,
Oh, you're talking about the Sinclair training? I have not received the registration information yet. They said that would come out in mid-October.
okay.
But it's still scheduled for December 6th.
Okay. All right. I move to adjourn the meeting. So
Second.
adjourned? Great.
You're adjourned at 6:34 PM.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right.
Yeah, you'll find that she shows up. I don't know the things.
Mr. Law Director.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm sure it was.
She was here last.
Mhm.
So you